Call the meeting to order. Color guards, attention hood, post the colors. Forward, march. Join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, this captain.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Color guard. Out. The select board would like to read the proclamation of the 300th anniversary of Barrington, New Hampshire, May 10th, 2022. Whereas the town of Barrington, New Hampshire achieves its tricentennial in the year of 2022, and on the occasion of this singular milestone, it is necessary to both recognize and applaud its history, and whereas the town of Barrington was incorporated on May 10th, 1722, from two grants encompassing what is now Stratford, Barrington, and the 2 Mile Street, and whereas the town's population has grown such that no fewer than 9,300 individuals currently reside within the 48.6 square miles comprising the town, which contains a bounty of precious natural resources, provides a multitude of goods, trade, and services locally, nationally, and internationally. And whereas the town's successful growth and spirit of community were achieved through the collective efforts of the people of Barrington throughout its history, and whereas the town of Barrington will mark its 300th anniversary with a variety of celebrations throughout this tricentennial year, including a variety show, parade, historic tours, concerts, and other festivities. And now, therefore, we, the Barrington, New Hampshire Select Board, together with our residents, in recognition of this occasion, do hereby proclaim May 10th as Barrington Day in the town of Barrington in perpetuity. In witness thereof, we have affixed our hands and caused the seal of the town of Barrington to be affixed to this proclamation. So present this.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to introduce from the 18th Dover, Dale Sylvie.
Hear ye, hear ye.
We can't hear you, sir.
Hear ye, hear ye.
This is a new thing. It's called a microphone.
Microphone.
I know it sounds small. Try it. You can do it. And other people can hear you.
What is this witchcraft? Hear ye, hear ye. Good evening, Barrington. My name is Dale Sylvie, and I'll be your host this evening. I live yonder on Evans Road, about 110 rods or 6 links, or 5 miles in your time frame. It is my honor to speak to the community of Barrington on this historic day, May 10th, in the year of our Lord, 1722. I'd like to thank the American Legion Post 114 for posting the honor guard, and the 18th Dover for posting the honor guard. This time I'm going to introduce the 18th Dover, 2nd New Hampshire. They're going to be doing a lot of events for us this year. One of the members holding the flag is my son, Matthew Sylvia. Matt spends most of his time in this fine hall right here. He's a member of the 8th grade. And one of his teachers is a man named Jeff Durrell, and Jeff is going to be assisting us with the reading of the charter tonight. Mr. Durrell also lives on Evans Road. He lives a few farmsteads over from me. And when he's not tending to the cattle, he's teaching our lads and lasses modern history, things like the Salem witch trial, just happened a few years ago. Thank you, Jeff. We have a great evening planned for you that includes some songs, a brief history of the early Barrington, the charter reading, a congressional record, and a few presentations. We also have a great band with us, lunch at the dump, very excited about that. But let me start with some housekeeping issues. Don't let me catch any of you tonight putting tobacco in your pipes. There's a lot of hay out back in the stables, and we just don't want to see this place going up. So this is a no smoking facility. In the event of a fire, you'll use your barn doors over here to your right. When you go out, what I want everyone to do is ring the fire bell on the way out. And what that's going to do is it's going to call old man Rick Walker. And he's going to round up the boys, and he's going to show up with a bunch of leather buckets. Rest assured, Rick will put the fire out. Now, I know everybody wants to see how fast Rick can run, but it's probably in our best interest tonight just to not have a fire. So, I'm told that Rick even has in a request to King George for a new horse so he can get the fires quicker. We don't know if the Crown's going to approve this or not, but we're hoping that he gets his new horse. Using tax money for public safety is always a wise choice. When I think about safety, I look to the future, say 50, 55 years from today, somewhere around 1776, when maybe someday we have a greater say in our own security in the day-to-day activities in these colonies. Can you even imagine 300 years from today, when perhaps we elect our own representation, where we have a greater voice, that not only honorable men, but whereas we have the choice to pick honorable women as well to govern the town of Barrington, represent us people. That will be a glorious day when we have taxation with representation. Taxation with representation. A day whereas the majority of our taxes are not sent back to Great Britain, but spent right here in our own community. And it all begins today with the reading of the charter and the official birth of the town of Barrington. I'd like to invite Kat Murphy back to the stage again, please.
God bless America. to the prairie, to the ocean, wide with home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
At this time, we'd like to share with you a brief history of our origins. From the year of our Lord 1722, please allow me to introduce the original Barrington Committee. Captain Mark Hunkins, portrayed by Jeff Durrell. George Jaffrey, portrayed by David Welsh. James Davis, portrayed by Walter Hanson. Samuel Tibbetts, portrayed by Matthew Sylvia. And Samuel Penhollow, portrayed by Dale Sylvia. From the year of our Lord 1722, may I present Mr. George Jaffrey.
Witchcraft?
Witchcraft.
In 1719, a committee was formed to survey the lines of the 2-mile streak. The 2-mile streak was a 2-mile wide strip of land set aside to provide home sites for imported workers at the Lamprey Ironworks. Wood from this area was converted into charcoal for the ironworks. The committee members were Captain Mark Hunking, George Jaffrey, myself, James Davis, Samuel Tibbetts, and Samuel Penhollow. The condition of the Ironworks grant required that within 7 years, 50 buildings with a family in each provide a meeting house that was to be a place of public worship, set aside 200 acres for the first minister, and set aside 100 acres for a school. The Lamprey Ironworks operated until 1722 and then moved to Gilmanton, where the bark ore was better quality. At the time, probably the most qualified person to be called the founder of Barrington would have to be Captain William Cate. In early 1722, Captain Cate built the Cate Garrison near the foot of Oak Hill. It stood behind the house across the road from the current Emergency Services building. It was torn down in 1868. A bronze plaque was placed in October 1933 commemorating the spot. Wow, that's a long time from now. In early 1722, the town of Portsmouth paid the expenses to repair the British man-of-war Barrington. The oak planks needed to repair the hull and the other parts of the ship were cut from property in and west of the 2-mile streak, south of Oak Hill Road. Many people also paid taxes to pay for these repairs. For their generosity, the provincial authorities presented them with a tract of land west of what is now the Madbury-Dover line. It was called Barrington, after the ship its lumber repaired.
Thank you, sir. From the year of our Lord 1722, I must present Mr. James Davis.
The first real dwellings, houses to be built after the town was surveyed, was owned by Joshua Pierce, a rich Portsmouth merchant and Barrington proprietor. In an effort to fulfill his obligations to the charter, he drew a detailed tenant agreement with Richard Swain, who built a small house. By April of 1732, Pierce had built several small houses, cleared and fenced 3 to 4 acres, and equipped the place with oxen, cows, calves, and swine. There were a few others who settled their own lots. By December of 1744, the number of tenants was described as not above 5 families. In those days, the first log cabins were made of rough-hewn logs. They were temporary shelters until a permanent house could be built. This meant that sawmills had to be built. In 1719, Garish Sawmill and Grist Mill were built. As settlers moved west of the 2 Mile Street, more mills were needed and built to meet the demand for more building lumber. The mills were usually built directly over the rivers, and the mill wheels were fully contained inside the mill building. Dams were built to hold back the water to create a more forceful, controlled flow to the mill wheel to make it turn. Most early lumber mills were called up and down sawmills, as it was a long, straight blade with a crossbar at each end. The water forced the gears to move the blades in an up and down motion, sawing the logs some as long as 30 feet. This was a slow process. The grist mills were built shortly after the sawmills to provide flour ground from the grain that the settlers had grown and harvested. The farmers drove their grain to the grist mill by oxen. Then they would dump a bushel at a time into the hopper of the mill, where it flowed between 2 stones that ground the grain into flour. This process took about 5 minutes to grind a bushel of grain. You can find a millstone today where Route 26 and Route 9 split. The first mills were built in Barrington were Locke's Mill, located in the 2 Mile Street, east of Califf Road near Toland Road. Later, this mill was called Twombly Miller Pearl Sawmill. Another was Old French Mill, located at the outlet of Long Pond near Route 126.
And lastly, from the year of our Lord 1722, may I present Mr. Samuel Tibbetts and Mr. George Jaffrey.
In 1744, England and France went to war in a struggle known as King George's War. This war brought troubles to the settlers from the French and Indians until a treaty was signed in 1748. The local tribes in this area were reinforced by larger tribes from the north. Their restlessness came to a head north of Barrington at Rochester and Squanamagonik. That's an Indian name. Which is a Native American term meaning water from a clay place. On June 27, 1746, a band of Indians ambushed a group of Rochester settlers. 5 were killed and 2 were taken captive. Out of fear, the 16 families and 90 inhabitants of Barrington took action. Thomas Shepard of Barrington petitioned Governor Wentworth to take action against these attacks. The governor ignored the petition, and the attacks continued. Other towns also petitioned the governor to take action. Eventually, the governor responded by sending a company of soldiers under Captain Jonathan Longfellow. Longfellow's company kept a patrol from Chester to Rochester. This area also included Barrington. Garrisons were built for defense and protection. Altogether, there were 5 garrisons built in Barrington. They were the Cape Garrison, McDaniels or Daniels Garrison, Lott Garrison, Cavalry Garrison, and Hunkin Garrison. The Hunkin Garrison was built in 1750 after the King George's War was over. In the period before 1750, the Indian population in New Hampshire greatly outnumbered that of the settlers. Small parties of Indians would hide near and around the settlements, creating havoc among the cattle, horses, and sheep. The head of one tribe in the Barrington area was a chief named Swanson. He was considered to be friendly to the settlers, but couldn't always restrain his tribe. Because of this, the McDaniels garrison was the scene of many bloody battles.
On June 27, 1747, a band of Indians attempted an ambush on a large number of men working at a field at Rochester Neck. 3 boys saw them and raised the alarm. The men rushed their nearby muskets and drove the Indians across the Isinglass River towards the nearby Lott Garrison. According to legend, behind the home of Peter and Debbie Dutton and Sugar and Ice on Caleb Road, a large battle took place. Many on both sides were killed at the edge of the ravine there. Following custom, Indians who were killed in battle were buried on the battlefield with their weapons. To prove this claim, many Indian relics such as arrowheads and flint stones have been dug up nearly 200 years later.
Baby.
The Cape Garrison was built on the hill across the road from today's public safety building. It was built by Captain William Cate and was allegedly the site of Barrington's first town meeting, as well as a safe haven against Indian attacks. It was torn down in 1868 and a plaque on a stone was placed there to signify its importance in the settling and development of Barrington. At the intersection of Beauty Hill Road and Caleb Road, there is also a plaque on a stone memorializing the location of the Hunkin Garrison. That dedication was held in 1941.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now for the reason we all came tonight. In the year of our Lord 1722, I'd like to present Mr. Captain Mark Hunkin and Mr. Samuel Penhallow for the reading of the charter.
George, by the grace of God, in Great Britain, France, Ireland, King, Defender of the Faith, etc., etc. Know, all people who come, these presents shall come, greeting. Know ye that we, of our special knowledge and mere motion for due encouragement of settling of a new plantation, by and with the advice and consent of our council, have given and granted by these presents, in as far as lies, do give and grant unto all our loving subject, as are here at present, inhabitants of our town of Portsmouth within our province of New Hampshire, and have paid rates in said town for 4 years, last passed to the divided among them in proportion for their respective town rates, which they paid the year last passed, and the record to which is to be found in their town book. It is agreeable to their petition, referred for that purpose. All that tract of land contained within the following bounds, viz., to begin, at the end of the 2 miles upon a lone run upon a northwest point, half a point more northerly from Dover head line at the end of 4 miles and a half westward from Dover, northeast corner bounds, and run upon aforesaid point to the northwest half of a point more northerly 11 miles into that country, and from thence 6 miles upon a straight line to Nottingham, northerly corner bound, and then to begin again at the end of the 2 miles aforesaid, and to run upon a parallel line with Dover headline 6 miles to Nottingham, and from thence 11 miles along Nottingham sideline to Nottingham sideline to Nottingham northerly corner bounds. And also to give and grant in a manner as aforesaid all that tract of land lying between Dover headline and aforesaid tract of land, it being in breadth 6 miles upon the Dover headline, aforesaid, and 2 miles in depth from Dover headline to the aforesaid granted tract of land. To our loving subjects, the present proprietors of the ironworks lately set up at the Lamprey River, viz. The Honorable John Wentworth, Esquire, George Jaffrey, Esquire, Archibald McFedris, Esquire, and Mr. Robert Wilson, for their encouragement and accommodation to carry on and maintain the aforesaid iron works. The aforesaid 2 tracts of land to be town corporate by the name of Barrington. To the persons aforesaid forever, to have and to hold the said 2 tracts of land to the grantees, their heirs and assignees forever upon the following conditions.
First, that they build 50 dwelling houses and settle a family in each within the 7 years, and break upon 3 acres of ground for each settlement, and plant the same sow and the same within 7 years. Secondly, that a meeting house be built for public worship of God with the terms within 7 years. Thirdly, that 200 acres be reserved for a parsonage, 200 acres for the minister of the gospel, and 100 acres for the benefit of a school. Provided, nevertheless, that the peace with the Indians continued during the aforesaid term of 7 years. But, if it should happen that a war with the Indians should commence before the expiration of the term of 7 years aforesaid, there shall be the proprietors of term of 7 years after the expiration of the war performance of the aforesaid conditions, rendering and paying therefore to us, our heirs and our successors, and such other officers or officers as shall be appointed to receive the same, the annual quit rent of acknowledgement of 1 pound of good of merchandisable rum for the said town on the 1st day of December, yearly, forever if demanded, reserving also unto us, our heirs and successors, all mass trees growing on said land, according to the acts of Parliament and the case provided, and for the better order, ruling government of the said town, we do by present these grants for us, our heirs, our successors, and said men and inhabitants, or those that shall inhabit the town. Yearly and every year upon the last Wednesday of March, they shall meet to elect and choose by the major part of them constables, selectmen, and other town officers according to the laws and usage of our aforesaid province for the ensuring with such powers, privileges, and authorities as the town officers within our aforesaid province have and enjoy.
In testimony thereof, we have caused the seal of our said province, and hereunto annexed, witness Esquire Samuel Shute, Esquire, our Governor and Commander-in-Chief of our said province at the town of Portsmouth, on the 10th day of May, in the 8th year of our reign, Anno Domini 1722, signed in his hand by His Excellency's command, Samuel Shute, with the advice of the council, Richard Waldron, clerk.
Thank you. As you see, we had lawyers back then too. You've met the committee from 1722. I would now like to introduce the 2022 Tri-Centennial Committee. Please come to the stage as I read your name. Jim Califf, Race Califf, Peter Cook, Aaron Paradise, Karen Ranson, David Ranson, Joel Sherburne, Garth Svensson, Dale Silvio, Jessica Tennis, Scott Villeneuve, and Rick Walker. On January 11th, 2022, the Honorable Congressman Christopher Pappas read a congressional record to Congress. Here now to read this record is Aaron Paradise and Race Caleb. Also, to represent the congressman with us tonight is Brett Lesevue.
I rise today to celebrate the Tri-Centennial anniversary of the charter of the town of Barrington, New Hampshire. Founded in 1722, Barrington was named for Samuel Shute of Barrington Hall, the colonial governor of both Massachusetts and New Hampshire. This town, the small town, has contributed to our ever-growing nation since before its independence. Hard work and family are what has kept Barrington strong throughout the centuries. From its lakes and trails to its family-owned business, Barrington is an example of what the American dream looks like for so many Granite Staters. This town of more than 9,000 has become a pillar of Stratford County and will continue to be for generations to come.
On behalf of my constituents in the New Hampshire's 1st Congressional District, I want to congratulate the town of Barrington on this incredible milestone. I look forward to a continued partnership with Barrington and its residents, who I am proud to represent in Congress. Chris Pappas, Member of Congress.
At this time, I would like to invite the Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Dan Manshek, please come to the stage. Here to present the congressional record is Aaron Paradise.
You want us down there?
Here to present the town charter from the year 1722 is Matthew Silvio. Next, we have a flag from the state of New Hampshire that was flown over the state capitol, and it was presented by Cassie Levesque, who is a state rep. Here to present it is Peter Cook. That's it for our presentations, but I have some really good news to report. I was just informed by the King of England he has approved Chief Walker's request for a new horse. Chief, here to present you as the Chairman of the 2022 Board of Selectmen. Chief Walker.
This is long held, and we will hope that you'll be able to give a short speech thanking the King of England. We'll have a hook for your short speech.
I'm speechless. And actually, I want to thank everybody for being here today, but more importantly, I want to thank all these people in the yellow shirts, and Dale and Joel. These people have worked tirelessly for the last year to try to get to where we are today. And I'm very proud of everything that every one of them are doing. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. It's going to be a great year in Barrington. We got a lot of fun things coming. This is just the beginning. Thank you.
Chief George, if I turn missing up in the next couple of days, that's the first place you look. This time we're going to take a 15-minute break. The American Legion has refreshments in the back. Over in the back, also in that corner, the 300th Committee is selling some cool memorabilia. They have calendars, Christmas ornaments, license plates, t-shirts, hats. And don't forget that to the raffle. One last thing before we take a quick break. Joel has one more presentation for the Board of Selectmen. I'm going to ask the entire board to come to the stage, please. And the Town Administrator, Mr. Connor McGuire, please come to the stage.
Thank you. This morning at the post office, we have worked, I guess, about 3 months to get a special commemorative envelope with an official United States Postal Service logo and cancellation postmark. So I was stamping them this morning about 7 o'clock at the post office, and I had 300 to do, because it's our 300th anniversary. So I think it's great. They all come out wonderful. The postmaster, the acting postmaster, helped me this morning and got them all stamped. And the logo's right on there. And this is a real collector's item, because after these are gone, the stamp is gone too, and it will never happen again. But I also talked to the Postal Service, and because of the big response, and also to celebrate the town's birthday, they said, Joel, you will have that stamp after 60 days, and I'm going to have it in a beautiful display case and put it in the new town hall for Barrington. So for each one of you, there's your envelope, and it's stamped with the official logo, and even it's got the new postal stamp, Celebrate, which has just come out. So congratulations. And I want also too, besides all the selectmen, I call them selectmen, but now it's a little different terminology, but it's fine. I want Connor Macon to have one too. So he has one.
Are they available tonight?
They are on sale right up back.
You want one out back?
They're $5 each. Right up back. The group up there will take care of you. And thank you so much. And I want to thank the Historical Society also too for being a part of this, and the Tri-Centennial Committee. Oh my God, they're awesome. They all work together as a team and they get things done. And I'm so proud of every one of them. So thank you. And thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about the envelope. It's truly a collector's item. And even they have a society where they collect these pictorial cancellations. So thank you so much.
We're a little ahead of schedule, which is great, so we won't be here that that much, but we're gonna take a 15-minute break, and we've got lunch at the dump. This is an incredibly good band. Hang out for that. In about 15 minutes, the band will start. Thank you very much.